Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the first full-length animated film and was released in 1937 by Walt Disney Productions. It has been an iconic film in film history, landing itself on the American Film Institute's 100 Greatest Films, as well as the greatest animated film of all times. The film, like many other Disney movies, is based on one of the Brothers Grimm's fairy tales. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs has been featured in a Broadway play, Snow White Live, as well as characters being featured in shows like Once Upon a Time, as well as the video game Kingdom Hearts. The film starts out when the evil Queen Grimhild, who is also Snow White's stepmother, played by Lucille Laverne, asks her magic mirror the famous words, "Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" To which the mirror replies, "Snow White," leaving the evil queen quite angry. The film then cuts to the Princess Snow White, whose voice is played by Adriana Caselotti, cleaning the castle while fetching a pail of water from the well, and singing along with her dove friends. She begins to sing the first of several songs in the film, "I'm Wishing." Other popular songs in the film are "Hi Ho," "Whistle While You Work," and "Someday My Prince Will Come." Bourne Company music publishers actually own the rights to the music, as well as it still does today, as Disney Productions did not have its own music production company. The songs were composed by Frank Churchill and Larry Morey. Continuing in the film, the prince shows up while Princess Snow White is singing at the well and joins her in singing along, startling the princess. She scurries into the castle, wearing her wretched rags that the queen has given her. The evil queen sees the prince immediately falling in love with Snow White. The evil queen calls upon her royal huntsman and tells him he must kill Snow White so that she can be the fairest in the land. To be sure he completed the job, the evil queen gives him a wooden box to place Snow White's heart in. When the huntsman finds Snow White, he's unable to kill her and warns her to run far away and to never return. Snow White runs, leading herself straight into a scary forest, which is now the main scene of Snow White's Scary Adventures ride in Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris. It was also part of a ride in Disney World, which has since been closed and was turned into the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train roller coaster, which I can attest to as a fantastic ride as I've ridden it myself several times in the past 2 years. Just before Snow White makes it out of the scary forest, she finds herself landing in water with gators. Wait, are there gators in Germany? Never mind, they're not gators anyway. They're just logs that are floating in the water. Snow White sends herself into a frenzy, falling to the ground where monsters, cute little forest creatures, come to check her out. Luckily for her, the forest animals just wanted to know that she's okay, and she realizes how silly she had been acting. Snow White asks the animals, "What do you do when things go wrong?" And the birds start singing. Snow White says, "Oh, you sing a song!" "No, Snow White, when things go wrong, you don't sing a song, and you don't just stand around." Of course, the naive Snow White takes the advice of the birds and begins to sing yet another song. She mentions to the critters that she needs a place to stay for the night, asking if they knew of a place where she could go. The critters lead her right to the Seven Dwarfs' cabin. Snow White peeks inside the windows of the cottage, not seeing anyone around. She knocks on the door and no one answers, so she leaves. Just kidding. This is a Disney film, so she lets herself inside the cottage and makes herself feel comfortable. She quickly finds the cabin to be a mess and begins to clean the place, along with the critters of the forest. Does anyone know where I can find critters that can communicate with me? Find me a nice cabin, and most importantly, help me clean my house. If anyone knows where to find them, please let me know. 21 minutes into the film, and the Seven Dwarfs are finally introduced. They're working in the mine looking for diamonds and gems, and are currently singing Dig, 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 and quickly move on to Hi Ho! When Snow White had gone into their bedroom upstairs, she had found the beds labeled with their names, which while they're working in the mine were quickly able to associate which name goes with which character based on their personality and actions. The dwarfs return to their cabin to find the lights on, and someone having cleaned the place. They're determined to find whoever's in their home and quickly kick them out. While trying to quietly sneak through the cabin, Sneezy accidentally sneezes so violently that it blows several of the other dwarfs straight across the room. While this isn't realistic, it made for a great scene specifically for comedy and entertainment. In the same comedic way, Dopey is sent upstairs to find out who's in their bedroom and comes toppling back down the stairs, landing on a pile of pots and pans, making a large racket, somehow not making Snow White awaken. I certainly wish I could sleep as deep as she does. 35 minutes into the film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs are finally introduced to one another. As Snow White awakens, The dwarfs peek their nose over the footboards, each nose popping up with a boing sound effect. The noses popping was actually part of a deal that was made during the creation process, where Disney had paid his staff $5 each every time they came up with a new gag for the dwarfs. The noses popping just happened to be one that made the cut. Snow White and the dwarfs quickly begin to talk about the evil queen, and Snow White says how she wants to stay with them in their cabin because the queen does not know where she is. She offers to sweep, clean, and cook for the dwarves. I mean, what man wouldn't turn away a cooking woman? After yet another song, the film cuts back to the evil queen, who is now under the understanding that Snow White is in a dead sleep. She once again asks the mirror who's the fairest in the land, to which the mirror replies, Snow White. The queen is informed that the heart in her box is that of a pig, and it is not Snow White's. She races down to her dungeon, where she finds a book of disguises and creates a potion to disguise herself into an old witch. After drinking the potion, she transforms at once, shrinking in height, her skin begins to sag, and her voice becomes croaky. Satisfied with her work, she moves on to her book of potions, where she finds one for the poisoned apple, with which just one bite would leave the victim in a forever deadly sleep. The only antidote to the potion would be a first true love's kiss. Going back to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they're seen dancing across the living room while listening to classic German music, just one part that was playing homage to Snow White's German heritage, as well as at the beginning of the film where she's seen wearing German clogs. At dusk, the evil queen begins her adventure into the scary forest, and in the meantime, Snow White is seen kissing the dwarfs on the top of their head as she sends them back into the mine for a day at work. As she begins to bake, once again with her forest critter friends, the evil queen, now disguised as an old witch, appears in the window. The birds try to attack her to scare her off, but it unfortunately does not work. Snow White apologizes for their behavior and invites the witch inside. The critters hightail it through the woods to find the dwarfs to warn them about what is about to happen to Snow White. The witch tells Snow White it's a magic wishing apple and that she just needs to take one little bite for her wish to come true. Snow White wishes for her prince to come and for them to live happily ever after. Snow White takes a bite, with the apple falling to the floor. I would absolutely recommend the film for others to watch. I found it to be entertaining and a film that children as well as adults could relate to. The music is beautiful, the color of the film is vibrant and stunning, and the work done, especially for the time it was created, is nothing short of magical. Please go out and watch this film and enjoy.